This is Dott TV News at 4, and here are the stories we have for you.
Being funded, our people are kidnapped every day. Heads are being chopped off on national television. We want to invite the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as our father to come and explain to us why we are spending trillions of naira doing roads.
The House of Representatives was today thrown into chaos and a heated debate over the alleged non-funding of constituency projects across the country. Member representing Aba North, Aba South Federal Constituency in Abia State, Alex Mascot, had moved a motion demanding that President Bola Tinubu be summoned to the House to explain the persistent lack of funding for constituency projects. The motion was seconded with lawmaker proposing an amendment that the House should shut down for 1 week until the matter is fully resolved. The proposal triggered sharp divisions, with Yusuf Gadi strongly opposing the motion, arguing that summoning the president was unnecessary since heads of relevant agencies are responsible for the implementation and funding of such projects.
Being funded, our people are kidnapped every day. Heads are being chopped off on national television. We want to invite the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as our father to come and explain to us why we are spending trillions of naira doing roads, why we are spending trillions of naira doing coastal roads, yet Nigerians are dying. Yet our security agencies are not receiving funding. Point of order. Move.
Amobi Godwin Oga. I rise this morning to amend part of the prayers made by my brother L.S. Ikweche. And that amendment is that this House cancel the open week or postponed to enable us be able to resolve this matter amicably. I so move. Thank you.
Invite people delegated with responsibility. No. Sit down. Sit down. Order, please. Mr. Speaker, sit down. It is only allowed.
Back home in Delta, a content creator, Omoniho Jitobo, has landed himself in a police net for allegedly making and posting a video linking the police to a fatal road crash in Ughelli. According to the police, the video contained fake information and was misleading to the public. The Commissioner of Police, Yemi Oyeniyi, disclosed these while briefing journalists in Asaba. Priscilla Ifanyi reports.
The Commissioner of Police, Yemi Oyeniyi, said investigation revealed that Omoniho Jitobo circulated false and misleading reports on social media, alleging that police officers arrested the suspects driving an unregistered vehicle, impounded the vehicle, and were later involved in a road crash that claimed the life of a woman.
The command observed the circulation of false and misleading reports on social media, alleging that the police arrested a suspect driving an unregistered vehicle, took over the vehicle, then had an accident with it leading to the death of a woman. A thorough investigation established that the crash involved a newly purchased unregistered Mercedes-Benz GLK SUV driven by a civilian, one Agofuro Gift, aged 27 years, who rammed into a commercial tricycle. The crash resulted in the death of one woman, later identified as Catherine Nkoro, aged 51 years, while 4 others sustained varying degrees of injuries. At no time was any police vehicle or police team involved in the accidents, nor was the vehicle driven by a police officer. However, acting on credible intelligence and digital forensic leads, the command commenced an investigation into the source of the false publication. Intelligence-based investigation led to the arrest of Ego Best Apomobe, 35 years, and Omonigo Jitobo, 42 years, who are alleged to have originated, disseminated the false narrative online. Both suspects are in custody and will be charged to court as soon as investigation is concluded.
In another case, the commissioner also announced the rescue of a 2-week-old baby boy and the arrest of 2 suspects over alleged child trafficking.
The complainant reported that after giving birth to the baby on 15 June 2026, a woman she identified only as Mama, with whom she lived and worked, informed her that the baby would be taken to an orphanage. However, when she later requested to see her child, she was denied access, prompting her to report the matter to the police. Acting on the report, operatives immediately commenced an investigation leading to the arrest of Eflin Otubo and Esther Joseph, who were in possession of the child while waiting for an intending buyers. The 2-week-old baby was successfully rescued unharmed and reunited with the mother.
The suspects were later paraded before journalists to give account of their alleged involvement in the various crimes.
June 28th, yes, I saw a video from Warrior Proku. It's a big blog, and I believe, not up to now, I know sometimes they post false information, because I was thinking that any video that comes from Warrior Proku, it should be a reliable video. So I now see where they are saying, oh, they put a caption under the Warrior Proku. I say, what happened at the Ugele Patani Express way? So I now, okay, because normally I'm a content creator on my own. I do content of comedian and all that. So I say, okay, let me just do a video under this Warrior Proku. So I now save their video. I now make my own video and I put their video under my own. When I saw the situation, I said, Nigeria police will not cease to know what they are doing. Say at least when you seize somebody motor, you go allow the person drive the motor, even so you go station. Not drive am. Now you don't go drive am now, you don't go blast the motor. No, police you go fix the motor. That was what I just said.
She delivered me. She has a hospital. So after she finished, because she told me that I will not be able to take care of this child. There's no pampers, there's no house for me to live. She said she would take it to the orphanage, but she did not take it to the orphanage again. She carried. I don't know whether she go and sell it to, whether she give the sister.
I take care of her till on the 8th when she gave birth. Last 2 weeks, now my sister come tell me, say, auntie, this girl they plan to run, leave the pikin. I say, for waiting. I not call her, wait to be your plan, what you want. He say, no, fit take care of the baby. Say, won't carry the baby. Say, like, say, go fit see where, keep the baby like motherless home. Now I come to say, okay, say I go confirm, because as I did, so the burden on me is too much. I cannot be taking care of you and be taking care of the child.
The command urged members of the public to remain law-abiding and continue to support security agencies by providing credible and timely information to aid the fight against crime. Reporting from Asaba, Priscilla Ifani, Dott TV News.
Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police in Delta State, Yemi Oyeniyi, has called for stronger collaboration between security agencies, traditional institutions, and local communities to tackle kidnapping, cultism, and other criminal activities in Ogara and its environs. The call was made during a strategic security visit to Ohara, where the police commissioner paid a courtesy visit to the Ovie of Ogara Kingdom, Nabu Eshemitan, before holding a stakeholder security meeting with community leaders and government officials in Ethiopia West local government area, while noting that Ogara remains largely peaceful despite isolated cases of kidnapping and court-related crimes. CP Oyeniyi stressed the need for continuous intelligence sharing and collective action against criminal elements. The stakeholders meeting had in attendance youth leaders, presidents generals of communities, members of the Police Community Relations Committee, representatives of the Arewa community, and other key stakeholders. Away from security matters, the Delta State government is preparing to host an investment and economic summit in August aimed at attracting foreign investment and showcasing the state's economic potential. The government says investors from China, Brazil, and several other countries have confirmed their participation. Priscilla Ifeanyi reports.
Government officials, representatives of trade union, the Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, and other stakeholders met in Asaba to fine-tune plans for the summit. With the theme Harnessing Our Strength, Unlocking Our Potentials, the event is designed to promote investment opportunities across key sectors of the Delta State economy. Secretary to the state government and chairman of the organizing committee, Dr. Kingsley Emu, said more than 25 international investors have confirmed their participation and will assess investment opportunities in the state. The government says the summit will position Delta State as a preferred investment destination and strengthen partnership with both local and international investors.
We're looking forward to trade investments. We're looking forward to livestock. We're looking forward to agriculture. We're looking forward to digital economy, blue married economy, and then science and innovation to all this year because of the idea of products or presentations that we have to make or will feature both at the panel and at the exhibition level as during the concert. Be glad that even after now, as you make plans to fine-tune your presentations in the course of the summit, you also try as much as possible to look at how you are going to become key players in these different sectors. And like I said, through SPBs, where individuals can come together.
Brazil has come a long way with us, especially with this administration. There's a whole lot that are ongoing, and there's a whole lot that Delta State can say foundation has been laid. All we need to do now is plug ourselves into the various, because the office of the vice president has done a whole lot, and the fact that he is the one that co-chairs the strategic partnership with Brazil.
Dr. Emo also says the event will feature the participation of senior government officials, with the Nigerian vice president expected to formally declare the summit open. Reporting from Asaba, Priscilla Ifeanyi, Dott TV News.
Meanwhile, the Delta State government has said that massive investment in infrastructure, as well as peace and security, remains central to the more agenda of Governor Oboriwori administration aimed at driving industrialization and economic growth in the state. The secretary to the Delta State government, Kingsley Emu, stated this while receiving a delegation from NNPC Exploration and Production Limited, a subsidiary of NNPC Limited, on a court visit in his office in Asaba. Emu said that the current administration has recorded significant milestones in infrastructure development, including the completion of the construction of the 149 kilometers Ughelli-Asaba dual carriageway. Others are the establishment of the Delta State Security Trust Fund and the planned deployment of 50 compressed natural gas buses to improve transportation. Also, the Delta State government says it remains committed to inclusive governance and equitable distribution of development projects across the state. The Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Charles Aniabu, stated this while featuring on Dott television flagship program, The Morning Dew.
Aniabu said, Governor Sheriff Oboriwori's administration is implementing projects across all ethnic nationalities and communities in the state, stressing that the government's priority is delivering the dividends of democracy. He highlighted key interventions in road infrastructure, healthcare, education, youth and women empowerment, as well as prompt payment of workers' salaries and pensioners' entitlements.
If you look at what Oborowori is doing, it's quite novel. The moment you look deeply, you could see that he is very much detribalized in these two very important issues. That is, how different persons participate in government, and how projects will also go to the people. Because he's very convinced in his mind that the money he's going to be spending belongs to all segments of society, the 25 local government areas.
On security, the commissioner said the state has strengthened intelligence gathering and community-based initiatives with plans to launch a security trust fund to further safeguard lives and property. He added that the government is driving economic growth through investments in agriculture, solid minerals, coastal development, and improved electricity supply while expanding critical infrastructure across the state.
There are a whole lot that is going on into ensuring that Delta is safe for all of us. You know that in this Delta, there is nightlife in virtually all our major cities. Whether you are in Ughelli, whether you are in Warri, whether you are in Asaba, it is because a whole lot of effort is being put in for the purpose of getting our security agencies to play a very, very critical role.
Speaking on the political climate, Aniago described political realignment as a normal feature of democracy and urged politicians and residents to embrace peaceful engagement, noting that freedom of association is a constitutional right. Aniago reaffirmed the Oboriwori administration's commitment to transparency, inclusive governance, and people-centered development, assuring Deltans that more impactful projects would be delivered across the state. Success Benjamin, reporting for Dott TV.
Relieved to be home, but carrying deep emotional scars. That is the reality for hundreds of Nigerians who have returned home in recent days aboard a special evacuation flight from South Africa. The emergency airlift follows a fresh wave of xenophobic attacks and anti-migrant protests targeting foreign nationals. While many escaped with their lives, they were forced to abandon their businesses, livelihoods, and years of hard work, returning to Nigeria with little or nothing. Our correspondent Odiase Onyeka took to the streets of Asaba, the Delta State capital, to gauge public reaction.
The mood on the streets of Asaba is one of anger, sympathy, and growing frustration. For many residents, the images of fellow Nigerians fleeing South Africa have struck a deeply emotional chord. While some believe the immediate priority should be providing economic support and rehabilitation for the returnees.
I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I'm back home because Nigeria is my home. Nigeria is my country. You know, we are in South Africa. We have tried. We stayed long there, like 12 years, you know. So now we come back to Nigeria. They say we must go.
Others are urging the federal government to adopt a firmer diplomatic stance in addressing the recurring attacks on Nigerians living in South Africa.
The particular one that affects me is the Nigerians that are there. Because if our governments are doing well, doing what they're supposed to do, creating jobs, providing the basic amenities for all the youths, we wouldn't be traveling to South Africa, not because we are talking about Europe, it's a different case, but Africa, within Africa, whatever that is in Africa, South Africa is in Nigeria. So it's very, very disappointing that our government is disappointing us to allowing our youth to travel to South Africa, for them to receive such mayhem they are receiving in that South Africa.
I feel very bad about it. I don't know what Nigerians have done to South Africa to deserve that. Everybody or every affected person must feel bad. So I feel very bad. If there is any problem, I think the countries can have a talk, any argument, any thing to dispute it. You understand? They can come close together to dispute it.
As the evacuation flights continue, the focus is gradually shifting from rescue efforts to reintegration, with hundreds of displaced Nigerians now back on home soil. Attention is returning to how they can build their lives after losing almost everything. The pressing question remains, what next for these returnees? From Asaba, Onyeka Odiase, Dott TV News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has mandated its Committee on Foreign Affairs to investigate the renewed wave of xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa and report back within 2 weeks to guide the federal government on appropriate diplomatic and policy responses. The resolution followed the motions by Senator Asupo Ebeyong, during which lawmakers unanimously condemned the attacks that claimed lives and destroyed properties of many Nigerians. He stated that over 1,000 Nigerians were being repatriated from South Africa and argued that Nigeria's foreign policy should be reassessed. Also contributing to the debate, Senator Adams Oshomole proposed that Nigeria should appropriate the profit of South African companies operating in the country, including financial institutions, and use them to fund and compensate Nigerian victims of xenophobic attacks. Staying with the red chambers that is now asking the federal government to suspend the rehabilitation and reintegration program for Boko Haram members while urging security agencies to intensify efforts to arrest and prosecute terrorists and other criminal elements responsible for attacks across the country. The resolution was adopted during the plenary on Tuesday, following a motion sponsored by Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua on the escalating attacks, abductions, and killings of 7 and retired military personnel, which are described as a growing threat to national security and state authority. The Senate also directed its committees responsible for security matters to strengthen oversight of security agencies and ensure that the nation's security chiefs are put on their toes over the security situation. As part of its resolutions, the upper chamber also resolved that a delegation led by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, should meet with the President Bola Tinubu to discuss the worsening security crisis. Coming up shortly on the news at 4, German doctor jailed for killing 15 of his patients. That's on foreign news. Plus sports after the break. Please stay with us.
In the heart of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
From traders counting every naira to families battling rising costs and uncertain times.
From football pitches to sporting successes to the major developments making the headlines all over the world.
And from the untold human stories, the struggles, victories, resilience, and hope of the everyday Nigerians.
This is the news beyond the headlines. Dott TV News are your trusted window to stories that truly matter to the people. Here, we don't just report events, we tell the human stories behind them.
Of Asaba, where the street tells the stories every single day.
From the corridors of powers to the decisions shaping governance and politics in Delta and Nigeria.
Now to the rest of our stories. On the foreign scene, a German palliative care doctor has been sentenced to life imprisonment for killing 15 of his patients. A court in Berlin found the 41-year-old man, named only as Jonas M., in line with German privacy rules, guilty of murdering 12 women and 3 men between September 2021 and July 2024. The authorities believe these killings could be just the tip of the iceberg. Prosecutors are currently investigating dozens of other incidents involving the doctor. His victims were between the ages of 25 and 94. The court heard how they were all critically ill, but that their deaths were not imminent. Prosecutors said that during a home visit, the doctor administered a lethal combination of various medicines without his patient's consent. On several occasions, they said he set fires to cover his tracks. For more stories on the foreign scene, let's now join Priscilla Ifanyi.
The U.S. has launched powerful strikes on Iran in response to attacks on 3 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command said on Tuesday it had hit over 80 targets, including more than 60 Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps small boats in the straits. Iranian state media says strike hit Qasem Island, Bandar Abbas, and Sarik, where people have been injured by shrapnel. Iran has not directly claimed responsibility for the attacks on the 3 tankers that led to the U.S. launching strikes. The IRGC said it has responded with retaliatory attacks on U.S. military sites in Bahrain and Kuwait in the early hours of Wednesday morning. Missiles and drones were launched at 85 key U.S. military facilities in 2 countries, including a U.S. Navy headquarters and an air base in Kuwait, the IRGC said. Earlier on Tuesday, Iran's deputy foreign minister described the U.S. attack as a violation of the U.S.-Iran memorandum signed last month and warned Tehran would take decisive measures. Meanwhile, oil prices have surged as new renewed hostilities between the United States and Iran threaten to derail a fragile ceasefire that had brought some relief to global energy markets. Brent crude, the main international benchmark, rose as much as 3% on Wednesday, reversing a slide that had seen prices return to pre-war levels. The jump comes after the U.S. launched strikes on Iran and revoked a temporary waiver of sanctions on Iranian oil, following attacks on 3 commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S., Qatari, and Saudi officials blame Iran for the attack on the vessels. U.S. Central Command said on X that it has begun launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting and attacking commercial ships crewed by innocent civilians in an international waterway. To the United Kingdom, where amber and yellow heat health alerts have come into effect across England as the country braces for one of the longest-lasting heat waves since 1976. Temperatures are set to rise as high as 36 degrees Celsius for parts of southern England this week. However, readings will range widely across the country from the mid-20s Celsius in the north to the mid-30s Celsius further south. The Midland, Eastern and Southern England are under amber heat health alert by the UK Health Security Agency until 21 o'clock on July 12th. Meanwhile, yellow heat health alerts are in force across Northern England for the same period. Significant impacts are likely across health and social care services due to the high temperatures, including a rise in deaths, particularly among those aged 65 and over or those with health conditions. Elsewhere, Damascus was rocked on Tuesday by explosions during a visit by the French President Emmanuel Macron, the first European Union leader to visit the country since forces led by President Ahmad al-Shara deposed Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. A separate bomb explosion at a Damascus cafe last week killed at least 9 people. 18 people.
And that's all we have for you on Dott TV News at 4. Thank you for your time. I am Chiamaka Ezapata.